Congratulations on this project.
Oh,
So
thank you very much.
it's so nice to see a Filipino name in a Disney picture.
Oh,
We always get
shucks.
excited. So tell me about what you do in this movie as what do you call environment head.
So I'm the environment modeling lead on the movie. And let me just back up and explain to you what modelers are and to your audience. Modelers are the artists who digitally create characters and the world in the computer for animated films. And as the environment modeling lead, I'm actually the one who uh, facilitates communication between all the other departments to make sure that um, our work is tending to their needs both technically and visually. So that's my role as the environment modeling lead.
Mhm. And how did you end up doing this project? Who gave you this project? Did the directors Don and Carlos? Uh,
I actually was on another project called a little film called Frozen 2. And we were just
it's very
finishing
little.
up on that movie, and I heard that Raya was looking for an environment modeling lead. Um, so I so I decided to put my name in because I
Mhm.
really wanted to be part of a movie that represented the Southeast Asian cultures, amongst them, of course, the Philippines. So I said, so I submitted my application, interviewed, and got the lead position.
Mhm. What were the challenges of your job make creating the environment, especially the environment is so detailed, I know some people went to Southeast Asia to take both photos or experience the whole environment.
Yep. There was a research trip that Disney always does whenever they're you know wanting to create or tell a story from a region of the world. And Southeast Asia was no less deserving of that. So a research team went there and explored, felt the culture, talked to the citizens, took in the environments and stuff. um, you know but for me, I lived it. So you don't need to tell me about the Philippines and stuff, because I grew up there as a kid. So
So what were the
um,
things that are Filipino or akin to the Philippines that you added in the movie? I know you did the spoon and the fork thing.
yes. A staple that's very common in Filipino homes. But there's one a particular environment that really takes me back to the Philippines, and that's the Talon market city called the marketplace called Talon in the movie. And in Talon, because it's a marketplace, it kind of reminded me of Palenque.
Mhm.
uh, you know, with the stalls, and with the selling of goods like fruits and meats and clothing and stuff. Definitely reminded me of Palenque. And when I was a kid, I used to go to Palenque with my grandmother, and we would go there, and I always, my memories of Palenque were always, it was just crazy. It was, everyone was buying anything, and people were yelling and screaming at each other, to buy stuff. All of that, all the memories that I had, I just fused it into my work. uh, you know and I wanted to make sure, working with the art director, uh, and of course the rest of the environment modeling team, that Talon looked lived in, that it represented marketplaces that are from the Southeast Asian culture. So if you were to see this film, definitely keep your eye out on the Talon, because it's really Palenque to me.
You mentioned the Philippines. So where did you grow up? Tell me a little background of yourself. What province did you come from?
Sure. I was born in Manila, and I grew up there as a kid. I went to, um, gosh, there were, I forgot the school that I went to. Was it uh,
Philippine high school.
Philippine high school? Yeah. And went there, grew up there. My grandparents were, you know, missionaries, and
Mm.
they built a church in Cavite, and we
Mm.
would go to Cavite on the weekends, you know, to do fellowship there. I would sing in the choir, all that good stuff.
Mm.
And then we
So
come
it's
back to Manila too, and then I would go to school.
okay. So your grandmother, how did she influence your drawings here? Because you said you went to the Palenque with her.
I think, yeah, my grandmother is a big inspiration, like my mom was. They always encouraged me to, you know, nurture my gift because they knew I like to draw. So my grandmother made sure, to tell my mother you need to enlist him in art classes and art schools, foster that talent of his and stuff. So my grandmother was a big influence in my career. And, she's no longer with us along with my mother, but they still remain very strong inspirations, of my work.
When was the last time you were in the Philippines?
Oh gosh, 1992 or 93. I think that's the last time I was there. That's unfortunately my grandfather passed away around that time. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And when you go to the Philippines, usually, what are the first things that you do?
oh gosh, well, eat. There's nothing like good Filipino food, and when you're in the country of your birth, that's all you want to do. You want, to have some adobo. You want to have some pancit, and there's nothing like it. I love the Philippines, especially our food. And when my mother cooks it, it just feels like home every time.
Mhm. Food is very important also in Raya. They've been cooking food and adding a lot of stuff. Did
Yeah.
you add anything there? Made suggestions?
I didn't make suggestions. The art director usually just gives us the artwork, to model, and but I did get to model some of the food that you see in the film. You know.
That's cool. And I know sometimes you don't see the talent, but was there any instance that you saw any of the talent, Aquafina, Kelly Mertran, or Gemma Chan, or
Oh,
anybody?
actually, no. And you have asked before what was the hardest thing or the challenges that we did in this film. I would have to say the most challenging thing was working from home because of the pandemic. It was a different reality that we're used to. Usually, it's very interactive when we're talking about, uh, you know, what to model and story plots and um, props and stuff. But being at home and then conversing over online on Zoom, it was a different world altogether. But I'm very proud of the studio in that we came together, we rose to the occasion, and we met this challenge. And Raya is the first animated film that was done at home, at our homes and stuff. And, we're very proud of that, that we were able to meet that challenge and exceed it actually, because, the movie's just beautiful and it just turned out really great.
Mhm. So you started working from home since the lockdown in March?
Yes, we did. And it took a while. It was a slow beginning because, we had to, uh, you know, Disney Animation wanted to make sure that there were no hiccups in the beginning, and there were some hiccups, but they ironed it out really quick, and they wanted to be sure that we had the same fluidity that we had at work here at home, that we were able to work like that at home. So,
Mhm.
and through some miracle, we were able to do it.
And I know there are like 400 people, I think, on the screen on the credits.
Yeah.
How is that managing everybody? It's hard, must be hard dealing with everybody on Zoom, especially.
Well, you know, part of a successful film, I believe, is having good communication. And I have to give credit to the production team for really, making sure that everything moved along smoothly. Our leaders, our supervisors, my supervisor, Eric Proan, he made sure that he communicated everything that needed to be communicated to our departments and to every modeler. Um, you know, it was a Herculean task to do this production, without being in the same building. And I have to give credit, to everyone at Disney, all the artists and production people, for coming together and working together and making sure that the communication was loud and clear.
So you are based in Los Angeles or in San Francisco?
Oh, Los Angeles. Yeah.
Los Angeles. So I saw also the name of Josie Trinidad, and
Yes.
how
Josie's
much
great.
work did you work with her? How much?
I didn't get to work with her one on one on this film, but she did do some storyboarding on the film, and Josie's great. She's awesome. And she's she has a lot of she's going places. Is what I'm saying is that because she's so talented, and yeah, I love talking to her.
So aside from Frozen, what other projects have you done with Disney?
Oh gosh. You have an hour or two.
Uh, you, you can
Yeah,
mention a few.
I'll mention a few of my favorites. Tangled was a favorite of mine. That really turned the studio around. Frozen was another good one, that was a good milestone for Disney animation. Zootopia was a good one as well, and Moana is a favorite of mine. But I have to say that Raya is up there as well for me. It's really a beautiful film, and um, I'm very proud of the work that we did on Raya.
Mhm, mhm. And having a first Southeast Asian Disney princess was really significant to a lot of families, and for us, especially coming from Asia.
Yeah,
So for you, how much special is this Raya film because of that and other significance?
I think in all the films that we work on, there's always a certain pride that our artists and production people here at Disney Animation take pride on, especially when it's showcasing, if it's a movie that showcases their culture, from Mulan to Moana. There's a certain pride that people from those regions take pride in. Um, in this case, I mean, I love Moana, but I also love Raya, and Raya hits a little bit closer to home just because it does represent the Southeast Asian culture. There are elements of Philippine culture that are showcased in the film, especially in Talon, that really remind me of home. And that's why it's special to me, because it reminds me of my family. And in all our films, it really is about family. It's about coming together. It's about trust. And for me, Raya is especially special because it does remind me of home, and my grandmother and mother. So.
Oh. And what advice would you give to aspiring Filipino animators who want to join your ranks?
Don't give up. Don't give up on your dreams. There were many times that I had pursued, you know, um, endlessly and was told no, many times. And it can be a little bit discouraging, but, especially when it's changing from 2D to 3D and then hybrids and stuff. There's a lot of things going on that you know gives everyone opportunities, and there's a lot of opportunities right now. So my one advice is to don't give up, don't quit. If you know what you want, go for it, and your perseverance will pay off.
Mhm. And who are your animator influences?
Oh
Who
gosh.
influenced you or inspired
um,
you to become an
well,
animator?
I think what inspired me to go into animation, first of all, watching The Little Mermaid, I noticed that a certain name popped up, and it was Ruben Aquino. And Ruben Aquino
Yeah.
is this famous Filipino animator who animated Ursula. It's such a beautiful character, well animated, and I couldn't believe Ruben Aquino, was in charge of her. And when I first came to Disney and met Ruben Aquino, I was flabbergasted. And here's a guy, who came from the same origins as I have in the Philippines, and he's this top animator, that's well respected. And you know, it was such a pleasure to meet him. He's such a humble guy, very sweet. He was a hero of mine working at Disney. Um, I would have to say Ruben Aquino, and Glenn Keane also is a very
Yeah.
nice animator, very inspiring as well.
Mhm.
But yeah, Ruben Aquino would be my first one.
Did you study animation in the Philippines or in the US?
I studied it in the U.S.
Hmm. And were you really focusing on joining Disney and being an animator, or it happened by accident?
Um, well, I wanted to be a comic book artist in the beginning. I'll have to be honest. I had a portfolio tended to comic books, and one day, in the '90s, I showed it to a comic book artist from Image, and he critiqued my portfolio, and he said it was great, but he also told me that being in the comic book industry, it's long hours, and you got to be really good, and it doesn't pay that much and stuff. So it's not that he was discouraging me, he was just being honest and real. And then he said, why don't you go into animation? Animation was big at that time. Beauty and the Beast was a big hit, and he had a point. And I thought about it, I'm like, yeah, maybe I should inquire in that. So um, I started asking around, and I actually met this woman who worked at Film Roman, who does The Simpsons. And she saw my portfolio and she goes, well, you need to redo your portfolio so that way it's more geared towards animation. So I did that, and studied, and went to the school in Santa Monica that taught animation. You know, from the mechanics to drawing from real life. That's where I learned it from, and then it just so happens that uh, Disney Animator came and did a presentation, and I was so blown away, and had a chat with him afterwards of his lecture, and he said, "Well, we have a lot of character animators. There's literally a line out the door, but we don't have any effects animators. And effects animation is basically animating fire and water, wind,
Mhm.
anything that wasn't a character." And so, he gave me advice. So I decided to curtail and gear my portfolio towards effects animation. And a few months later, I got into the Disney training program and became an effects artist on. Uh, I was hired for I'm sorry, Fantasia 2000,
Mhm.
but my first credit was Hercules
Mhm.
during my 2D days, and then Fantasia 2000 and on. Um, but after the 2D, revolution uh, kind of like fizzled out, and studios were starting to go into 3D, I had to relearn the computer all over, and teach myself to learn the computer.
Mhm.
And after putting together a reel and got back into Disney, I just stayed at Disney ever since.
Mhm. If you had a chance to be a director, what's your first movie?
Oh gosh. Well, actually, I was given the opportunity to direct a short
Oh.
on that's on Disney Plus right now called Lightning in a Bottle, and
Oh.
I actually, um, actually, was very humble and was grateful that there was a program called Short Circuit that was introduced at Disney, that anyone who's working in Disney animation can submit an idea and turn it into a short film. And
Mm,
I was fortunate enough to submit my idea in the second round and was chosen to direct a short. And
mm.
so I directed Lightning in a Bottle. That's on Disney Plus right now.
I'm
So
gonna watch it after this.
oh, okay.
Well,
But
congratulations.
I actually do want to direct some more. Whether it's TV or the movies and stuff. I definitely have written some ideas down and also have written a screenplay. So you know,
Mm,
been very busy ever since then.
mm. And the Philippine culture is very rich in stories, so we
Yes,
might as well do a film about that or something one of these days.
yes, definitely gonna mine my childhood, and because there's a lot of stories that can be told.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for your time, Jan. It's nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you,
So
Janet.
hopefully
Thank you
I'll
so
meet
much.
you one of these days.
I would love that. It'd be so awesome.
Yeah.